Mahal everyone, welcome back again to the Broadway Saiyan YouTube channel. I am your host 40 and we are back with another video on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. In today's video guys, I am bringing you a brand new series to the global version of Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia that I'd like to call Weapon Passive Prioritization 15 CP versus 35 CP. Now, if you guys have a better title or a more unique title for that, I'm all open to suggestions, so please let me know in the comment section below, as I know that's a little bit wordy. Now this is going to be part one of this series. There's going to be numerous parts to this, as the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to be covering this in batches of 4 characters, and I'm going to be going in order of each character as how in the order that they were released to us in global. So some things to keep in mind when you're watching this series. So this is intended to help players understand if certain characters can function with or without certain passives. As you know, not everyone will have every single weapon in their inventory unless they pull on every banner. It is also intended to help players decide which weapons to go for first for the characters mentioned in each video. And this is especially useful for players that are brand new, that are recently starting Dissidia Opera Omnia, because I know that not everybody has been playing since launch. Now, this will only cover 15 CP and 35 CP weapons within Global, and I am going to be including 35 CP weapons for the characters not yet released that we currently have, only because we're going to be getting them soon anyways. This will not cover World of Illusion secondary 15 CP weapons for certain characters, as personally I feel like those weapons are a little bit more optional for their passives. Now, this is also not going to be taking into account EX weapons, as I'm going to be saving that for another series later on. And finally, these are my personal thoughts and my opinions, and I know that some of you guys will be disagreeing with some of the verdicts, but I do want to have a friendly debate, and let me know in the comment section below why you disagree on some of the verdicts that I leave on this video. So let's go ahead and start off first with our first character, which is none other than Warrior of Light. So Warrior of Light has 2 abilities, Shining Shield. This grants a shield to either himself or an ally for 5 turns. The shield is equal to 200% of Warrior of Light's initial Brave. His second ability is Throw Buckler. This is going to be a one-hit range Brave attack with a damage modifier of 100%. It also provokes the target for 5 turns, and it has a high turn rate. Now, the 2 passives that he has available to him with the weapons that you could pull are his 15 CP Enhancer, which the passive for that raises either himself or the ally's Brave equal to 50% of his initial Brave when he uses Shining Shield, and his 35 CP Flame Sword passive is Throw Buckler's damage output is increased by 100%, so it has a grand total of 200% damage modifier now. It also grants Warrior of Light initial Brave up by 40% and debuff Evade up for 3 turns. So what's my verdict? Which passive should you prioritize first if you're pulling for his weapons? My thoughts are, go for his 35 CP, as the Provoke is more valuable since he is a tank. He is there to draw aggro to himself and to draw aggro away from your other party members, and also the added damage bonus to the Throw Buckler and the buffs are pretty nice. Shining Shield on its own is already really good. I mean, it's equal to 200% of his initial Brave for that shield, and you know, the initial Brave is nice, but it's not necessarily needed if you already have Flame Sword. So if you're wondering, is Warrior of Light good with just 35 CP? I'm going to say yes, he definitely is. He definitely can function without his 15 CP and just with his 35 CP. Second character is going to be Vivi, fan favorite, FF9's Black Mage. So his 2 abilities are Fire. It's a one-hit Fire Magic Brave attack with a damage modifier of 120%. Focus is his second ability, which grants him attack up for 50% and max Brave up for 50% for 2 turns. His 15 CP Oak Staff passive increases Fire's damage output by 60%, so now it has a total damage modifier of 180%. His 35 CP weapon, which we don't have yet, is called Cypress Pile. The passive for that, it raises Vivi's Brave equal to 100% of his attack, and the attack up and max Brave up that he grants to himself with Focus are now at 100% rather than just 50%, and they have their durations extended to 4 turns. It also lowers Focus's action delay. So what is the verdict on this? So the verdict is definitely prioritize his 35 CP first. It will further increase his damage output as well as his overall HP damage he deals with the max Brave up. His Fire already has a fairly decent damage modifier of 120%, so even if you don't have his 15 CP but you later on get his 35 first, he's still going to be pretty good, as Focus is going to more than make up for the amount of damage that he'll be dealing with his abilities. Third character is going to be Rem. So Rem's first ability is Cure. Cure recovers the target's HP first, equal to 25% of their max HP, and then it heals them again for their HP equal to 100% of Rem's attack stat. Her second ability is Swap Turns. This gives her own turn to an ally. It also grants Brave equal to 75% of Rem's attack stat. It also grants max Brave up of 30% to herself and the target for 3 turns, and this ability does have a high turn rate. Her 15 CP Survival Edge passive increases the potency of the first heal to the target. So now, rather than it being 25% of their max HP, it's now at 35%. Her 35 CP Rune Dagger passive, which we don't yet have, but we will have soon, the Brave gain for that now grants 120% of Rem's attack stat, and then the max Brave up that is granted to herself and to the target is increased to 60%, and it also has it extended to 5 turns. It will also now grant a speed up to herself and the target for 5 turns. So what is my verdict? Which weapon should you go for first or prioritize first? Definitely prioritize her 35 CP passive first. Cure itself, even without the 15 CP, is still pretty good. And to be honest, if a lot of you folks already have Aiko or even Pinello, or even Aerith, their heals are a whole lot better right now compared to Rem's, and they're also generally more used. So this is why I feel like, you know, her Cure ability doesn't really need it right now if you are deciding which weapon to go for. And her Swap Turns comes more in handy as a support ability, because not only does it give stat buffs, but that Swap Turn can come in handy as far as like you know, playing a strategy or deciding, you know, whether or not you want to pass Rem's turn to another unit. That way you could strategize that way and things like that. So that's my thoughts on Rem. The fourth character and the last character for part 1 of this series is going to be none other than Saz. I know a lot of you folks are hyped for him. He recently did get quite a bit of a buff in Global, so let's go ahead and go over his abilities. His first ability is Aim. This is a one-hit range Brave attack with a 100% hit ratio, so it never misses. It has a high turn rate. It will grant him attack up by 20% to himself for 3 turns if the enemy is debuffed when he uses this ability, and it also has a damage modifier of 150%. His second ability is Attack Boost, so this grants the target or himself attack up by 50% and critical hit rate up medium for 2 turns. This also has a high turn rate. His 15 CP weapon, the Altair passive, increases Aim's damage output by 30%, so now the total damage modifier on that ability is at 180%. The attack up duration is also extended to 4 turns, and now this also grants him a defense up by 30% for 4 turns now if the enemy is debuffed. His 35 CP weapon, Spica, which we recently just got, the passive for that is Attack Boost usage +1, Attack Up potency is now increased to 60%, and the critical hit rate up is now at large, and it is extended now to 6 turns for both of those buffs. This also grants the target max Brave up for 60% for 6 turns, and this time it also grants Saz attack up 60%, critical hit rate up large, max Brave up 60%, and speed up medium for 6 turns. This will also change his HP attack to HP attack plus for 6 turns, and HP attack plus is a 1-hit range Brave plus HP attack. Wow, so what is the verdict on this? Prioritize his 35 CP passive first. Saz has effectively right now in Global become one of the best offensive buffers with his recent adjustments and his 35 CP weapon being released. Aim's passive, to be honest, it can wait. I know I've seen some people selling off his 15 CP weapon, you know, for power stones to use for other weapons. That's completely fine, because if you have his 35 CP, you're going to be using attack boost and his HP attack plus abilities quite often right now in Global. Alright guys, well that is going to be it for part 1 for this brand new series for my YouTube channel on Opera Omnia. Again, please leave some feedback and let me know in the comment section below what you think and what you think of the verdicts. And if you disagree, let me know why, and I'd love to hear from you guys. And again, I'd love to hear feedback. Anyways, this is 40 the Broadway saying stay tuned for the next video, and mahal everyone.